Kingdom of Saudi Arabia said Saturday that it intercepted an apparent missile or drone attack over its capital Riyadh amid the kingdom's years-long war against neighboring Yemen's Houthi rebels. Saudi State TV quoted authorities in the kingdom acknowledging the interception, where the Houthis did not immediately acknowledge launching a missile or a drone toward Riyadh. Western experts, Saudi Arabia and the US said Iran has supplied arms, including ballistic missiles, to the Houthis. Iran denies that, though devices and the weapons link back to Tehran. Hundreds of demonstrators took to the streets of Tunisian cities on Saturday to protest police repression, corruption, and poverty following several nights of unrest marked by clashes and arrests. Saturday's protests come as the North African nation struggles to stem the novel coronavirus pandemic, which has crippled the economy and threatened to overwhelm hospitals. Over 6,000 people have died from COVID-19 in Tunisia, with record 103 deaths reported on Thursday. Officials in Kabul have welcomed the new U.S. administration's plan to review a peace deal between Washington and the Taliban that paved the way for a complete withdrawal of U.S.-led troops from Afghanistan by May. President Joe Biden's National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told his Afghan counterpart Hamdullah Mohib that Washington will review last year's agreement, an issue long demanded by Kabul, in a sign of a possible policy shift in the White House under its new leadership. However, violence has intensified since the signing of the deal that also forced Kabul to release thousands of Taliban prisoners, souring President Ashraf Ghani's ties with Washington. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani is to sue his country's state broadcaster after he was accused of opium use on national television. On Friday, the President's Office of Legal Affairs said Rouhani would pursue damages for defamation after Ahmad Jahan Bozorgi, a cleric and member of an Islamic think tank, said that Rouhani could often not be reached by members of the Iranian cabinet because he was at home smoking the drug. Earlier, Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif and Communications Minister Mohammad Azari were summoned to Parliament to face questions over their relationship with recently installed U.S. President Joe Biden. Egypt begins coronavirus vaccinations, beginning with medical staff. Egypt received its first shipment of vaccines developed by China National Pharmaceutical Group Sinopharm in December. Egypt will get 40 million vials via the Gavi Vaccine Alliance for 20 million people, or 20% of the 100 million population. According to scientists, the discovery of a new coronavirus disease COVID-19 variant in the UK should not alter the response to the pandemic, despite fears that it could prove more deadly. Top medics have said it's too early to say whether the variant, thought to be up to 70% more transmissible, carries it with a higher mortality rate. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson claimed there was some evidence the variant had a higher degree of mortality at a press conference with the UK's Chief Scientific Advisor, Sir Patrick Vallance, adding it could be up to 30% more deadly. Disputes in the Lebanese parliament have accused President Michel Aoun of acting as a party, not as a president entrusted with the constitution. MP Anwar Al-Khalil said that Aoun's media office's statement undermines the Lebanese people's minds and destroys the hope of forming an important government. It's also a digression from obstinacy and stubbornness. Al-Khalil reminded Aoun that the constitution named you as president, a symbol of national unity and a protector of the constitution. Egypt's security services have announced the capture of a bank group Brotherhood network in downtown Cairo. According to security forces, the network was led by a Turkish man and prepared negative reports that contained false and fabricated information about the political, economic, security, and human rights situation in Egypt. The information was aimed at tarnishing the country's image inside and outside the country, with the reports sent to the group's handler in Turkey. Opening arguments in the Senate impeachment trial of Donald Trump are set to begin the week of February 8th, with the former president facing charges of inciting an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. The Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer announced the schedule late Friday after reaching an agreement with Republicans. Under the timeline, the House will transmit the impeachment article against Trump late on Monday, with initial proceedings Tuesday. Iran urged new U.S. President Joe Biden to choose a better path by returning to a 2015 nuclear deal between Tehran and global powers, but said the opportunity would be lost if Washington insists on further Iranian concession up front. Under Biden's predecessor Donald Trump, Washington withdrew from the deal designed to stop Iran developing a nuclear weapon and bolstered sanctions in a bid to force Tehran into talks on a broader agreement that also addressed its ballistic missile program and support for proxies around the Middle East. The Mixed Maritime Naval Defender 21 exercise between Royal Saudi Naval Forces and the United States Navy kicked off at King Abdulaziz Naval Base at the Eastern Fleet in Jubail. The drill, which is being held in Gulf waters, will also see the participation of a British minesweeper. The two-week drill aims to raise combat readiness and expand maritime security cooperation between the two forces by strengthening maritime security, ensuring protection of territorial waters, and exchanging combat experiences. The U.S. Senate confirmed retired General Lloyd Austin as Secretary of Defense, the second cabinet nominee of new President Joe Biden to gain approval and the first African American to lead the Pentagon. Austin sailed through with overwhelming support from both Biden's Democrats and opposition Republicans, who voted 93-2 in his favor. The retired four-star general will be the first African American to lead the Department of Defense and takes on the job as the Pentagon sees the need for greater efforts to root out racism in the ranks and give more opportunities for leadership positions in minorities. According to an independent UN human rights expert, the COVID-19 pandemic will not end for everyone until it ends for everyone, advocating for an equitable and globally coordinated vaccine distribution program. The UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights and International Solidarity said in a statement that the virus can still travel from the vastly unvaccinated massive population of the Global South to the Global North, including in its increasingly mutating forms. He explained that with mutations constantly evolving, only inoculating rich countries would likely complicate or delay the eradication of the virus. There is a ray of light for Parisians who, like the rest of the French nation this weekend, began to observe a tightened coronavirus curfew. The famous Rodin Museum sculpture garden is reopening to visitors. Though the Rococo Museum, showcasing the world's largest collection of Rodin sculptures, remains closed, visitors are now able to enter the sculpture-filled surrounding gardens that overlooked the gold dome of Lou Individual's monument. They have been shuttered since November and reopened Saturday. Now the pink vibrant is in bloom and Forsythia buds poke about between the bronze forms. NASA conducted the test firing of the engines for its Giant Space Launch System SLS lunar rocket on Saturday, but they shut down earlier than planned. The hot fire test at the Stennis Space Center in Mississippi was supposed to last a little over 8 minutes, the time that engines would burn in flight, but they shut down just over a minute into the burn. NASA said in a statement that the teams are assessing the data to determine what caused the early shutdown and will determine a path forward.